The unsettling visit. It had been years since my cousin Stephen passed away, shot and killed in a case of mistaken identity. He was just 21 years old, and his death had left a lasting impact on our family. Although we weren't particularly close, I loved him dearly, and his passing had been a significant loss for me. However, what I didn't expect was the unsettling series of events that would unfold years later. After Stephen's death, I started having vivid dreams about him. These dreams were so lucid and realistic that they left me feeling drained and unnerved. Despite getting married, having a son, and moving to a new home, the dreams persisted. One afternoon, I fell asleep on the couch in our living room while my son played quietly on the floor. My husband was away at night school, so it was just the two of us at home. As I napped, I had one of those vivid dreams. In the dream, I was aware that Stephen was approaching our house. I knew he was dead, and the knowledge filled me with a paralyzing sense of dread. I saw his shadow walking past the front windows and his silhouette through the frosted glass of our front door. My son, who was just a toddler at the time, saw him and stood up, babbling excitedly. I tried to warn him away, but I was frozen in place, unable to move or speak. Somehow, I managed to break free from my paralysis and enveloped my son in my arms. I silently pleaded with Stephen, "I'm so sorry, Stephen, but please, please. I can't, please go. Please just go." I saw his shoulders slump, and he turned away, walking down the driveway and disappearing around the corner by our garage. I felt a mix of relief and guilt as I watched him leave. As I startled awake, I looked around the room, taking in the familiar surroundings. My son was still playing on the floor, and everything seemed normal. I picked up a book I'd been reading to distract myself from the disturbing dream. But as I sat there, I noticed that my son had stopped playing, and we just stared at each other. There was an eerie tension in the air, and I felt a strange ringing in my ears. Suddenly, a loud crashing sound shattered the silence. Our glass screen door had broken, sending shards of glass scattering across the floor. I was taken aback, wondering what could have caused the damage. As I looked at the broken door, I couldn't shake off the feeling that Stephen's visit had been more than just a dream. The aftermath. The incident left me shaken, and I couldn't help but wonder if there was more to the story than I knew. I tried to brush it off as mere coincidence, but the vividness of the dream and the timing of the broken door made me question the boundaries between the world of the living and the dead. As I reflected on the experience, I realized that the dreams had been a manifestation of my grief and guilt over Stephen's passing. The dreams had been a way for my subconscious to process the loss and work through the emotions that I hadn't fully confronted. But what about the broken door? Was it just a random event, or was there something more to it? The unwelcome guest. Living in a rural neighborhood comes with its own set of unique experiences, and one of the most notable in our area was the large feral cat population. As an animal lover, I always made sure to keep food and water out for them on our deck. It was a routine that brought me joy, watching these creatures thrive despite the challenges they faced. One fateful night, my peaceful routine was disrupted in a way I never could have imagined. I woke up around 2 a.m. to use the bathroom, and as I sat down, my gaze drifted out the window, which offered a clear view of our deck. What I saw made my blood run cold. At first, I thought it was a large animal, perhaps a raccoon or a coyote, rummaging through the cat food. But as my eyes adjusted to the dim light, I realized with a skin-crawling sense of horror that it was a human man, crouched on all fours, eating cat food out of the bowl with his mouth. My heart racing, I whisper-yelled for my husband, who immediately got out of bed and joined me in the bathroom. His expression mirrored mine as he took in the scene below. We both stood there, frozen in shock, unsure of what to do next. The man's behavior was so bizarre, so primal, that it was hard to comprehend. I managed to compose myself enough to call 911, trying to explain the situation to the dispatcher. However, it was clear that he didn't quite grasp the gravity of the situation. "Ma'am, what do you mean suspiciously?" he asked, his tone calm and detached. I tried to convey the absurdity of the situation, telling him that the man was eating cat food with his mouth, without using his hands. The dispatcher's tone changed slightly, and he assured me that a patrol car would be sent over. As we waited, my husband decided to take matters into his own hands. He tiptoed downstairs to retrieve a baseball bat from the closet, just in case the situation escalated. Meanwhile, I kept a watchful eye on the man, who remained hunched over the bowl, his face obscured by the hood of his sweatshirt. It was as if he was in a trance, oblivious to our presence. The minutes ticked by, feeling like hours. Finally, we saw headlights approaching from down the road. Our unwelcome guest must have seen them too, because he stood up, stretched, and walked off our deck, disappearing into the shadows at the edge of our yard. The police arrived soon after, and we breathed a sigh of relief. The aftermath. The experience left us shaken, and we took immediate action to ensure our safety. We installed motion-activated lights and a camera, and we made sure to take the cat food off the deck at night. The police presence in our driveway for the rest of the night was a reassuring reminder that we were safe. As I look back on that night, I realized that it was a wake-up call. It made me more aware of my surroundings and the potential dangers that lurk in the darkness. But it also made me more cautious, more vigilant. I'll never forget the sight of that man, eating cat food like an animal. The haunting dreams. The house on our street had been our home for a while, but little did we know that it held secrets and terrors that would soon unravel in our dreams. My husband and I had been experiencing strange occurrences, but nothing could have prepared us for the nightmares that would shake us to our core. One night, I had a dream that was so vivid, so real, that it still haunts me to this day. In my dream, our house was enveloped in black smoke, and I could see our son banging his fists helplessly against the front bay window. Panic set in as I rushed across the street and into the house, searching desperately for him. The smoke was choking, the heat was intense, and my heart was racing with fear. As I frantically searched for my son, I finally found him, and I held him tightly to me as I ran back outside to safety. But as I looked down at the bundle in my arms, I realized with a jolt of horror that it was not my son at all, it was his baby blanket. I stared back at the house in time to see it collapse in a fury of flames, and I woke up screaming. My husband's dream was equally terrifying. In his dream, he went into the house, calling out for our son, but he couldn't find him. He heard our son's voice, crying out for him, but it seemed to be coming from all directions. Then, he heard a soft "Daddy," and he reached down and grabbed what he thought was our son. As he ran outside, he realized that our son felt very light in his arms, and when he looked down, he saw that he was only holding a teddy bear. These dreams left us shaken, rattled, and more than a little spooked. We couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off about the house, that it was trying to tell us something. We decided that we had had enough and promptly moved out, staying in my parents' small guest room until we could sell the house. The skeptical buyer. The house didn't stay on the market for long, and we were relieved that we would finally be able to put our experiences behind us. However, against our realtor's advice, we decided to be upfront with the buyer about our experiences. The buyer was a much older man who planned to use the house as a rental property. When we told him about the strange occurrences and the nightmares, he waved it off as nervous nonsense. "We've had some strange experiences in the house," I explained, trying to convey the gravity of the situation. "Dreams, noises, unexplained occurrences. We're not sure what's going on, but we feel like it's time to move on." The buyer looked at us with a mixture of amusement and skepticism. "Don't worry about it," he said with a chuckle. "It's just an old house. It'll settle down once you move out." We exchanged uneasy glances, wondering if we had done the right thing by telling him. As we finalized the sale and moved out of the house, we couldn't help but wonder what the future held for the new owner and his rental property. Subscribe to Mr. Nightmare 2.0 for more chilling stories. If you enjoyed this spine-tingling tale, be sure to subscribe to our channel, Mr. Nightmare 2.0, for more stories that will send shivers down your spine. We'll explore the darker corners of life, delving into the unknown and the unexplained. Join us on this journey into the heart of darkness, and discover the terror that lurks within. Subscribe now and get ready for more chilling stories.